Hey Ryan, I'm making this for you. Originally, I was gonna make it right in Facebook, but I kept hitting the 1 minute mark. That's how long you can make this video, and I was just like, I gotta tell my man. There's so much here, Melchin. There's so much here. All right. First things first. Is there anything I can tell you like fast forward to? To a certain extent, I'm gonna say no, because it's kind of a slow burn, and you need to see the pattern repeat a few times, and then you start to go, oh, they're done. This is a cavalcade of idiocy. This is a cornucopia of stupidity. This is a bushel of bumbling bureaucratic dumbleballs. I don't know what that last word is. Anywho, so that right there is like, look at them being so bad at their job. Makes me feel so good about myself that if I had someone give me like $100,000, I could open a damn good law firm and just make it rain with associates because my God, they are bad. But real quickly, in case I really want you to watch it. I really want you to watch it. They take a 20-minute break around the 2 hour, 40-minute mark. I would suggest start from that 2 hour, 40-minute mark break and then start watching. I will say that when you come back from break, because I'm still watching it, by the way. When you come back from break, Attorney Wood does a little diatribe. If you can listen to his diatribe, but you can really skip it, and then after that, start the clock. After that point, watch for like half an hour, 45 minutes. Please, I am begging you, because it is so good with this how bad they are. And one of the things, actually, I'm gonna pause it because I'm missing, making this real quick. Boop. All right. So one of the things that you will hear consistently throughout is going to be something along the lines of, Your Honor, we just need an evidentiary hearing. There we go. We just need an evidentiary hearing. We can sort everything out. And the judge is going to keep saying no. Now, you might be wondering, why is she saying no? Why is she not giving them this hearing that they keep asking for? So I'm going to break it down like a fraction. All right. When a lawyer files a lawsuit on behalf of a client, it is the lawyer's job and duty to assemble all of the facts, beliefs, assertions, and allegations that the client has made, marry them with legal theory that supports the beliefs of your client, put that together in a written format, and submit that to the court. Additionally, when you are making your complaint, which is what the document is, a lawyer is not expected to know with 100% certitude the validity of all of the supporting documentation, facts, and assertions. But a lawyer is required to make a good faith inquiry that the underlying facts and assertions that are present in the complaint have a factual basis, are somewhat true, or that there's enough there to show that something is happening, and therefore, with further inquiry, these facts can be developed. All right? If you read the complaint, and I'm actually about to the point where I'm about to read the complaint because it's so good. Like I need more of this. And it's not, I'll be honest, it's not even the Trumpiness of it all. It's the bad lawyering that gets me. It's not really even the Trumpiness. It's the lawyering. So I know that I believe that you are someone who did not support Donald Trump. And as you know, I really didn't support Donald Trump because I'm a Democrat. But my fascination with this case has nothing to do with my dislike of Donald Trump. It's more for the dislike of the lawyering, which is just so patently bad that I gotta know how. I gotta know why. I need to know. So, in their complaint, and there are two complaints. There's the first complaint and then the amended complaint. And the first complaint had some technical issues, which to me, I'm not gonna really harp on that. That happens. But in both complaints, they make these attorneys make assertions on behalf of their client, the plaintiffs, saying, the election was stolen, ballots were X, Y, and Z. All these various really bad, nefarious things. They have experts who opine as to how and why the election failed. Okay? Oh, and here's a point that will help you understand what you are watching. You had plaintiffs. These were the people who were voters and electors who filed suit in Michigan because they said our rights have been taken because the election has been rigged. Those are your plaintiffs. And then you have plaintiffs' counsel. These were the lawyers who were hired to represent the plaintiffs. What we are watching, that 5-hour 42 thing, is plaintiffs' counsel being reprimanded by the court. And then plaintiffs' counsel hired out their own attorneys to represent them. So if you do watch it, which again, you really, really should, the judge is going to address two different types of people. She's going to address plaintiffs' counsel, which are the lawyers who represented the voters and electors who believe that they had their vote stolen, and then counsel for plaintiffs' counsel. And these are lawyers that were hired to defend the counsel for the plaintiffs who filed this lawsuit. So just keep that in mind. So there's counsel for plaintiffs' counsel, and then there's plaintiffs' counsel. When plaintiffs' counsel made this document, there are allegations in there that are so wild, so fantastical, that the judge is basically asking, before you turn this into the court, did you do like a little bit of background checking just to make sure that what you saw or what is in this document is inside of the realm of possibility? All right. It's not up to the lawyers to go ahead and get affidavits from each individual person, but rather is what is purported to be in this affidavit possible. For instance, and I know this is long, but Brian, I'm telling you, you're gonna need this to understand that. So please, I hope you're still here. Okay. Let's say that I, hypothetically speaking, am representing a client, and I'm going to call my client Ryan. And Ryan alleges that one day he was driving his car. And while he was driving his car in, let's just say, Springfield, USA, this cat named Matt T-boned his car. All right. And now Ryan said, hey, attorney, I want to sue Matt because Matt T-boned my car. I'm going to go, cool. Do you have any evidence to prove that Matt T-boned your car? And you're going to say, absolutely, man. I got mounds of evidence. I'm like, cool. So I ask you, can I see your car? And you're like, no. I'm like, okay. Do you have eyewitnesses? Yes, I do. Cool. Give me their names. And he tells me their names are Billy, Levert, and Christian. Cool. And so Billy, Levert, and Christian write an affidavit up saying that they saw Matt run through the red light, actually at the red light, saw you coming by, and then hit the gas, hit your car, T-boned your car, damaged your vehicle. And so we put that in the complaint. But I never really interview Billy, Christian, and Levert because of their affidavit. Okay, you with me so far? So then I file the complaint, I take it to court, and the judge is like, okay, attorney, I'm looking at your evidence here. Where does Matt live? And that's when I tell the court, oh, Matt lives in Texas. Okay. Was Matt in Springfield at the time of this happening? Oh, of course, Your Honor. Billy, Christian, and Levert said he was because they saw him hit the car. Well, then later on, we find out that Billy, Christian, and Levert, one is legally blind, Another one doesn't like Matt. And the third one saw Ryan's posting on Facebook that was on his sister's account about the accident. Now, in my complaint, I said I had 3 eyewitnesses who saw it right then and there. I, as a lawyer who was putting together, should have done some basic due diligence by reaching out to the 3 people whose affidavits I attached to the complaint and basically said, hey, I read your affidavit. I just want to confirm with you that you were there, that you saw Matt, that you saw Ryan, that you saw Matt hit Ryan's car, because I don't want to submit something that under a cursory review is a bunch of lies. Now remember, Matt is from Texas. Now let's take it a step further. Let's say Matt never left Texas and you were in, let's say, Springfield, Alaska, because there's a Springfield in every state. You're in Springfield, Alaska. So now the judge is going to ask me, hey, attorney, you filed this complaint against Matt of Texas. You're representing Ryan of Alaska. How is it that Matt of Texas T-boned Ryan of Alaska's car if Matt of Texas was undergoing pancreatic surgery at the same time? And if my defense is, Your Honor, they said they saw him, and that was good enough for me, that's not good enough. Because at the end of the day, it's not my job as the lawyer to really do an extreme detail analysis of their affidavit, but it is my job to make sure that we pass just a few basic inquiries. And what you're watching, I'm so sorry this is so long. Ryan, you really need to watch this and then watch that. What you're watching is the judge basically asking, you have somebody here, you have an affidavit, an affiant. By the way, an affiant is the person who fills out an affidavit. You have an affiant here saying, I saw people doing elections, typing in random dates into the computer. And I saw, after they did that, ballots going into the machine multiple times, baby. You know, just bam, 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 bam. Okay, I'm losing here a little bit. That seems pretty wild, right? Did plaintiff's counsel ask the Board of Election, the County Board of Election, those officers, hey, is it possible for this to happen? And if it did happen, what are the reasons and explanations for it? So that way I can understand what's in my complaint. Plaintiff's counsel and counsel for plaintiff's counsel said no. Their belief is that so long as the affiant saw it, that's good enough for them. So then you go over to the defendants. Now, the defendants are the one who brought this current action of sanctions against plaintiff's counsel. The defendants are saying, well, I'll tell you why you saw ballots going through multiple times. The reason why you saw ballots going through multiple times is because basically they're scantrons. And scantrons, they're fancy scantrons, but they're scantrons. Sometimes, because of how fast the machine sucks them up and scans them through, ballots be crumpled, be abused, aren't read properly, so you have to go and re-scan them. But also, that because of how they keep track of people in Michigan who voted, you know how many people came in and voted, and then you know how many votes are counted. And so what you'll see is, just to make sure that you are not counting ballots, multiple times, you look at to see how many people came in. So let's say at this polling location in X place, Michigan, let's say there are 1,000 registered voters and only 500 showed up. That means that you should have 500 votes. Because your general pool of registered voters is only 1,000 people. But you said, according to the law, that only 500 showed up. So that means that when 500 showed, you should only have 500 votes. Now, if you were to listen to the affiant, they would say that no, ballots went through the machine like a merry-go-round, just bing, 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 bing. So you should have thousands of votes, despite the fact that there aren't even thousands of registered voters. But if plaintiff's counsel had called in, they would have known, okay, yeah, we have 1,000 registered voters. We have 500 people showed up. Of that 500, there were, let's say, 20 ballots that had to go through the machine a few times for the machine to count it. And at the end of the day, when we did that count, we saw that there were 500 votes actually counted with the 500 people who came in to vote. Now, I feel like I'm going into this, and so I'm going to wrap this up real quick because it's 16 minutes long, and I feel like I have definitely lost you. Because I'm going to stick with the example just to prove the point. There are some cases, and the defense admit to this, where there are 1,000 registered voters, there are 500 people came in to vote, and then they end up counting 502 votes. So, I mean, there's 2 votes. The thing is, though, of the total number of overvoting, so that is to say, more votes than there were people, I believe the number is like 85. That's 85 over the entire city. That's the nature of counting with people. We are not perfect. That is nowhere near enough to overturn Donald Trump's deficit of more than 100,000 votes. You are never going to have a perfect election, but you are going to have lots of near perfect elections. And this is a near perfect election. So, again, about the evidentiary hearing, the reason why the judge does not want to have the evidentiary hearing, she doesn't need to know about the underlying facts and the analysis and for people to prove themselves. And by the way, real quick, one of their experts talked about how he trained with the military, he was a military man, blah, 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 this, blah, 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 that, and how he can't talk about his analysis of the software, the voting machines, and all that with his real name, because otherwise he'll get death threats and people come after him and all that jazz, which, if he believes that, hey, who am I to say that? However, what I think is really fascinating is that for somebody who is supposed to be so just in the world of computers, computer technology, software, passwords, security, encryption level, his statement, which he blacked out, he didn't do it the right way in Adobe Reader. So the defendants, by the way, are basically the city government, state government, the government. Just highlighted it, boop, unblacked, boop, and there it was. That's how good the expert was. He didn't lock the document down. He didn't make it so you couldn't change anything. It basically seemed like he just highlighted it instead of yellow and black, and then was like, I'm done, work completed. Ryan, I can't emphasize enough. Just sit down for like half an hour. And I know every time I keep talking, the time gets smaller and smaller and smaller. I know it is because I want you to watch it. I really, really do. I don't want you to watch all of it because maybe you may not find this as fun as me. And I think personally I'm loving this because I'm a lawyer. But man, they'd be bad. They'd be so bad. Via levels. And there seems to be an inability for them to understand, like, dude, you have a responsibility to just make sure that what the affiant says happened is possible. It's just possible. And they didn't even do that. And there's so much more juiciness in it, but really. And if you do watch it, and if you do have questions, I am here for you to answer those questions. Okay? All right, man. I'll see you around.